to be sitting around. And there's a lot of
And get on
artists,
it.
actors and actresses out there now who, just sitting around waiting for someone to call, and ain't nobody calling. You have to
Right.
make something happen for yourself. I'm a giver. You know what I mean? I'm a giver, and just a very humble person, and I get a lot of pleasure out of helping folks. Everyone tells me I'm humble, and I am, and that's another thing that I've grown to understand. In the past couple of years, people used to say it. I just went, "Oh, okay." You know what I mean? Like, as I'm just me. But now, as a grown man, I realize that, and it's not something that I try to do. It's just sort of who I am, and I love that because I see other people, especially in our industry, who aren't, and it's ugly. You know what I mean?
It's
So it's
ugly.
just like that don't look good, and you look real crazy right now. And these people probably gonna let you get away with it, but you look real crazy. And I just can appreciate, the fact that I'm just this, humble little country boy from Bakersfield, appreciating everything that I've been able to attain to this point.
Yeah, that's good. I was literally just in another interview and we were actually talking about, I guess, a little bit of the opposite. So whereas she was giving me a lot of compliments and I was just kind of like, "Ah." And I was like, I am still learning how to accept compliments and things like that. But I think also it's just something that I don't know if Black folk do it, women do it, Black women, but I just feel like as a Black woman, I've always tried to like make sure that I wasn't doing the most. And
Uh-huh.
then, so when people compliment me, I'm always like, oh no,
You say, oh no.
oh no, I'm
Yeah.
shy.
Oh no, I'm shy.
Don't do it. Don't. So it's like, well, how in the world are you supposed to be? Because you don't want to be overdoing it, overly
Right,
confident, overly cocky, and you don't want to be like
right,
so humble that you're not, I don't know, celebrating yourself or
right, right,
lifting yourself up for the things that you're doing. So like
right.
the medium, how you find the
Yeah,
medium.
I think you stay humble through your, or you can be as arrogant as you want through your work, right? When you set out, when you doing what you do,
Yeah.
you know that you damn good at what you do, and that's okay. And I think when you off the court or off screen, then you know what I mean. You just, it's okay to accept those compliments, and you still know who you are. But you walk in a room, you don't necessarily have to broadcast that or need someone else to. And I think a lot of entertainers need that. It's like, don't they know I'm here? Like, man, everybody here chilling, man. Sit your ass down. What you mean? Do they know you here?
Where
Like,
wait.
you know what I mean? So I think through the work, you can be arrogant and cocky and as confident as you want to do your thing. But when you step off the court, bring it down a bit. Find a cool medium
Yeah.
and chill.
Well, I'm curious a little bit about your upbringing. What kind of kid were you? Were you the silly kid?
Yeah, the little pill-headed, skinny, oh, silly kid, And in Bakersfield, as far as you want to be in entertainment and stuff like that, is really no such thing. So my entertainment was limited to talent shows and showing out at church. And I guess they figured that, if my mama didn't wait till we got home to give me a whooping, I know I did a good job at being silly. And she popped me in the back of the head right there in the pew. Then I know I was killing it. But yeah, I was, I had my mom and my dad in my life, and it's just been an incredible foundation they set. And that's another thing that I just thought it was the way it was. And as I grow up, you start to see that a lot of people don't have
Yeah.
those key pieces in place. And so again, appreciative of that foundation. And like I said, we laugh with my brother and sister at times. Shoot, we thought we were rich because my parents always sort of made it happen, but we were far from rich. But a blessed young life of just sports and showing out, and you know what I mean, and staying on the right path, mostly. and uh, and here I am.
I love it. The kids that showed out the most are always the ones that end up being the comedians.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You don't even know it. You just in class, just honing your skills. Yeah,
Just getting it together little by
yeah,
little.
yeah.
So when did you start actually making people laugh at something that you could actually do?
I think again in high school I was always the funny one, always the class clown. But when I set out to come to Cal State Northridge to go to college, that's when I sort of looked around. I'm like, oh, I'm in the epicenter of entertainment now. And so from there, I started to try and get my feet wet. And I started by adding a class. I was a math major going to school to teach, but I would add a class, to my schedule of acting in the filmmaking department and began to get my feet wet. And it was there, the bug grew. I started taking classes outside of school, improv classes. And they started telling me, you got great timing, you got great timing. And I was like, yeah. And I didn't even know what that was. I just kept on doing what I was doing. And it was in that process that I figured out that, I did have great comedic timing. And was funny because in Bakersfield, I was just showing out and doing me. I didn't know there was a structure to what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
once I got here, I figured that out, and the role for Fat Beach came up for audition, and I
Mm-hmm.
submitted myself through what was Dramalog at the time, which is now Backstage online. And 7 auditions later, I got the part, and and that was the start.
Yeah, and you were all the way in at that point.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
that. Well,
Yeah.
what are some of those moments that you were able to look up and be like, wow, comedy's really my career?
I think probably on the Eve show, because I had my head down, grinding, getting it. But once we got Eve show, it really set in that like, yo, this is crazy. Like I had been to a couple of stages as an audience member, you know what I mean, over the years when I was young and just moved out from Bakersfield. And so now to be on there and the stage being filled with audience members, like I used to wait to come in and, the table read and being on sets and the lights and the celebrities. And it was just like, I think that was the moment where it was like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah.
But I always understood that, this was a crazy blessing. So every day I showed up, I was like, man, this is crazy. It never wore off. We did 66 episodes, and on 65, I was still like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, yeah, this, I'm really, this funny guy with talent doing this acting. And I leaned into it, every week, our character had a different journey, you know what I mean? Different storyline. And I leaned into it and always tried to find the funny, but keep it real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some people they try to find the funny is like, I want to go for a walk, and they try to make that funny. Like,
Yeah. Just
down. The funniest coming. Just
again, please
say
relax.
I want to go for a walk, and that's it.
Right.
And so, I just began to understand that God, I guess, blessed me with the gift, and I just leaned into that.
Yeah. Did you were you aware early that you were the type of person that needed to live towards like an actual dream instead of clock in, clock out type of person?
Yeah, 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 and it's funny because my instinct, my natural instinct
Yeah.
was never to be the clock in, clock out. Although I worked at the movie theaters in Bakersfield, California, where I grew up. I worked at Walmart. I did construction for a short period of time, which is what my father does. And you know, I figured out like this is not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to do more. And in that, I just really, again, leaned into these talents that I was gifted with and
Hmm.
went full throttle, even with my first independent film, which independent film has been my foundation, and it's the
Yeah.
reason that anyone knows me, and the reason I'm sitting here now. And my buddy who's in film school at Cal State Northridge as well came to me, and he had like $10,000, and he's like, man, I got $10,000, I need about 3 more to make this movie. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And we made this movie Q, the movie, which we finished, and it was absolutely horrible, but it was 90 minutes and it was funny. And so it was coming on the heels of Fat Beach, which had just did ridiculous amounts of money on DVD. And so this mid-level distributor, Xenon Entertainment, was like, we'll take it. And so long story short, this $13,000 film went on to make $800,000. And from there, we found a niche to where we could sort of control our own destinies and create without anyone having to justify our being. So we were able to do what we want, when we want, how we want. And that set the foundation. But I always had that instinct to go and just do it and not wait and not conform to the 9 to 5. Again, even within the industry, waiting
Yeah.
for an audition. They call me, I go audition, see if they like me. Mm-mm. I always had to have my own, lane and own journey. And it's been a blessing. It's been my foundation.
Yeah, I respect that. That's like specifically how I like to move too. And I didn't realize that I was doing that for myself in my career either. I was like, well, I don't want to be like waiting for somebody to give me a shot.
No.
I really don't. Like, I'm gonna show you what I can do. And I might
Right,
do
right.
it this 2 penny budget. I might
Yeah.
get $2 next time, and then I might get 2,000, and then I'm still able to show you. But I feel you on that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
that's
gonna
where you
wait
have
for
to
a shot.
sit. You have to sit in that because you'll be waiting on them forever. And a
And
lot
then
of those
they'll give you
people,
a shot and take it.
yep, absolutely. You don't want to be at their mercy ever. And now is such an independent time to where you can really thrive and create a foundation, make great money. There's hundreds of outlets for your content. So it's really no excuse or reason now, but sitting and waiting on somebody to pick you is absolutely ridiculous. Now, in the course of you doing what you do, they want you to come play with them. Cool.
Yeah,
Pause, go do your thing. That's just going to boost the stock of who you are and what you're doing on your side of the fence. But
exactly.
to be sitting around, and there's a lot of
Depending on
artists,
it.
actors and actresses out there now who, just sitting around waiting for someone to call, and ain't nobody calling. You have to
Right.
make something happen for yourself.
You have to make it happen for yourself. and
Yes.
and watching people do that in different mediums and different time, like I think about when, as you were talking, it just reminds me of Robert Townsend
Yep.
and the way that he hustles, and the way
That-
still, but the way that he had to hustle at the beginning and
exactly.
create from his own way
Yes.
and just
Yeah.
make it happen. Like, that's, people think that those are magical people.
No.
They really
Right. Right.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, no, he was just a dude with a camera that was like, I'm not about to wait.
Exactly. Exactly. Even in our first one, as I said, the key in there, when I said we made that $13,000, that film was not good, right? We did a whole bunch of stuff wrong, but we stepped out and took action. We stopped talking about it. We did it, and look what happened. So again, yeah, they think it's magical, but you better, whatever, you better learn how to be a musician, a magician, and jump in, get you a wand, whatever you need to be comfortable. But you need to start going. Do not sit and wait for someone to pick you.
Yeah, that's
Not a
good.
recipe for success.
It is not the recipe for success. Do not wait for somebody to come and pick you. I
Mm-mm.
love that. And I see that you also, like you said, you are a giver, and to the point of not waiting for people to come and pick you, now you've reached a point in your career where you're able to say, you know what, I'm reaching back. It's not going to be as hard for these people coming out after me. So I see that you have stuff that you're working on that is helping the youth, and that's helping them create. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, that now that and this is probably the biggest thing of, I thought I did, a lot of cool stuff, but nothing has been bigger or cooler or brought me more gratification than this Left to Bang entertainment program that I'm doing with these youth. And it's just that you can't go through life seeing how much stuff you could get for yourself. Like how long you just gonna be seeing what you can get,
Yeah.
and also just looking out again at, my peers, and and it's just a lack of, people don't often reach back, reach left, reach right to help anyone.
Mm,
And that just wasn't gonna be me. And
mm,
so one of the things I did is I'm trying to figure out, what else? How do I do this? What do I do? How am I going to give back? What's going to be my legacy? And I just did a lot of soul searching. And probably one of the biggest moments, which I've been telling everybody who was listening, I joined a Rotary, the Santa Monica Rotary, and it's an organization aimed at helping wherever they can, however they can. And their motto is service above self. And that really sums them up. And I was visiting one of the neighboring Rotaries, and there was a guest speaker there. And he made the comment that really shook me. He said that they're able to predict with certainty that a child at the age of 3 will end up in jail or prison.
mm.
And so I'm waiting to see what he says next, because I'm thinking, like, I don't like where this is going. If this is some
Right.
kind of slick talk hook, you're starting off the wrong way. I don't know if you see this black man in the back. But that his statement was what it was, and there was nothing more to the statement. And he went on to give us the reasoning that they're able to predict this. And he said it's because of the geographical area that the child is born and raised in, the number of gangs that the child has to walk by to get to and from school,
Oh.
and whether or not the child's parents have been in jail or prison. And
Mm-hmm.
so here you have this 3-year-old kid who doesn't know what life is, doesn't possess an ounce of ill will in his body. Because of the geographical area that the child is born and raised in, the arc of his life is limited to death or prison. And so he went on to say, that's a fact, unless there are programs like Left to Bang and others to go in and intercept these youth and provide mentorship and
Yeah.
show them another way. But
Mhm.
without that, he said that they're doomed. And so at that point, I had to ask myself, okay, if I have the ability to take action and save these youth's lives, would I? And for me, the answer is yes, every single time, over and over. And so that's when Left the Bang Entertainment was born. And the bang in our name stands for that action moment in a child's life where they pick up a gun, commit a violent act, join a gang, anything that puts them on the wrong side of the law. And we want to intercept them before that moment and get
Mhm.
them before that bang moment to keep them left of bang and out of trouble and harm's way. And the number, top reason that these kids join gangs is because they're looking for a sense of family. They're
Mhm.
looking for a sense of belonging, and they're going to seek that out, even if it's with the gang. However, that's just a natural human instinct that we all need as human beings to thrive and stay alive. And so we want to be their filmmaking family and provide them with another option. So we extending an olive branch from the inner city onto these Hollywood film sets and allowing them to be a part of the Hollywood magic. And that's what the program is. And it has like really lit up my soul and my heart to have connected those two, passions, because I was going to school to be a teacher and called to filmmaking, and being able to combine the two to keep these youth left of bang has been amazing.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you're actually walking the talk.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you say that you are insert, like you're a serve type person, but you got to show up in that way in every way,
Mhm.
in everything that you do. And I think that that's so dope because there's so many people that think that the Hollywood dream and making these movies and that's the thing. And and it's cool, like you said, but it's about so much more than that. So to
Yeah.
be able to offer people literally life-saving chances,
Mhm.
that's the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and
That's
and
the
it's
stuff.
amazing. And people don't realize what it feels like. You know, people always trying to buy the fastest car and the biggest house, and all that stuff is cool, but there's no, it is no match for the level of, you know, energy you get and in your soul and your spirit when you actually do something for somebody and expect nothing in return, but you do it because you can, or because they
Yeah.
may need it, or because it's helping a cause. And it's just the most amazing feeling. And it's just a simple thing and gesture, but most people don't understand that, and they trying to get the car to go faster, the house that's a little bit bigger, you know what I mean? Or whatever it may be. And once you start to serve other people, not to itself to where it exhausts you and your family, but pinch off 5% to give back. And the feeling is amazing. And then I think we all need to practice that more, and not to mention the things that begin to line up and how the universe and shifts for you when you're doing that. That's
Oh
just a
yeah.
whole another thing. So
Yeah.
it's just been a great space to be in.
Yeah, I love that. And you also never know who, especially with what you guys are doing with Love the Bang, you never know who you're able to help spark
Mhm.
and create. Like you
Mhm.
might be putting, you know, the next Ava DuVernay out there in the
Yep,
world, or you know what I
yep.
mean? Like, so I think that's really dope. So I'm
Thank
glad you're doing something like that. Yeah. And I also see that you shot a film
you. Yeah,
during the panoramic.
yeah. I did. You know, and that was, you know, so I was pushed to do that because of my youth as well, because the program was moving and grooving, and then everything got shut down. And so we had to shut the film down that was about to start when I was going to have them be involved and on the set. And so, you know, like everybody, we was guessing, oh, it's gonna be 2 weeks. Now, 2.5 weeks. Oh, it'll probably be 4 weeks in a day. And here we are a year
It's
over
right.
later. Like, you know, little did we
Still no
know.
end in sight.
Yeah. But in the midst of that, you know, I think, you know, at first I was like, I gotta keep going. I can't be this guy with these kids who showed up and said all this old cool stuff and then
Listen,
disappeared.
Scott's
And
Tots, Michael Scott,
yeah,
what you gonna do?
yeah.
I don't think we have finished with my inbox.
What's Scott's Tots?
Has it really been 10 years? Local businessman pledges college tuition to third graders.
Michael, why did you promise that?
To change lives?
No, Michael, why would you promise that?
You know, okay. Call the school, cancel. I can't go through with this.
We've already rescheduled 7 times. Michael, this is a terrible, terrible thing you've done.
Well,
It's terrible.
no.
Just terrible. And the longer you put it off, the worse it's gonna get.
I fell in love with these kids, and I didn't want to see them fall victim to the system. So I made them a promise. I told them that if they graduated from high school, I would pay for their college education. I've made some empty promises in my life, but hands down, that was the most generous.
So I was like, I gotta reach out and see how they're doing. And so I did just that. And as the pandemic moved on and depression was up, suicide rate among youth is up. And I just said, I have to figure out a way to move forward, because these youth, you know, the gangs and all that negativeness that's recruiting them, they didn't stop. And for a lot of them, you know, the COVID was the least of their worries. You know what I mean? Like they have so many obstacles and barriers they have to overcome to get to the surface. COVID,
Right.
they wish that was all they had to worry about. And so I was like, I don't have the liberty to sit and wait until 2021 when it might be better. These kids don't. And so I was like, let me assume this is the new normal and figure out how to push forward. And that evolved into my online film school that has been, you know, absolutely amazing. And then the next step was to let me see how I can shoot a film and allow them to be a part of it virtually. So from set, we would have our Zoom sessions and they would meet the cast and meet the crew. And but that was urged by me wanting to keep them involved and
Yeah.
keep them active. And so because of my independent background and not waiting around for somebody to pick me, I didn't have to wait for anyone to tell me that I could shoot. And so one of the ways we did it, and we were able to do it safely, is we scaled down the crew immensely, and we stretched out the schedule and made it longer. So that allowed us to move safely and securely and at a cool pace to where we could manage this COVID through the rapid testing and the mask and the distancing. And we turned out the film Adam and Eve. And it's different than what you used to see me in. It's a straight love story. You've never seen this amount of sexiness on the screen until you see me walking through scene to scene. Uh, and
Emotion or
yeah, and so it's basically about these two people who fall in love. They both have questionable past and things that they're dealing with. And so those skeletons in their closet start to creep up, and it prevents them from moving forward and living happily ever after. And it's a nice ride, and people are gonna love it. I'm in post-production now, you know, tidying up the sound and score and all that good stuff, but it has come out really, really nice. It's a very sexy film.
yeah, I'm excited to see that. So you're giving us serious actor?
Serious agony. It's like a piece of chocolate in the soup walking through the screen. You're like, is that a candy bar? And oh no, that's Brian. Damn.
He is giving us leading man.
That's the best way to explain it. A candy bar in a very nice soup.
I cannot, just delicious.
Just chocolate walking. Like, look at
Just Idris, please.
It's just who?
No, Morris Chestnut, relax.
Look at this candy bar. He got a suit on.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see it. You know, the Tay Diggs is quaking, honey. He's like, what? Don't come for my roles, man. Well, where can we look? Where are we going to be able to see it whenever it's all ready?
It's going to be on one of the major digital platforms. We haven't tidied up all the paperwork, so I don't want to say, and they'd be like, oh, he told everybody already. We ain't got to pay him more money. So, but it will be on one of the major platforms, and it's going to be nice, and it'll probably hit the end of summer or sometime in the fall.
Right.
But I'm excited about it.
I love it. Well, I wonder, because you say, you know, you definitely have learned the lesson of not waiting for somebody to pick you. And now that you've been able to do these things on your own and create in the way that you have, what have you learned about yourself in the space of being in this leadership role, but also having behaved in this way of I'm not waiting?
I think you know, I've learned that I have great stamina, and you know, this is you know, when you do it the right way, it's a very, very, very long journey to get to where you're going, especially in this industry. And I think you know, one of the things you know, I've learned about myself is just my stamina to stay steady and keep pushing forward, because it's not always easy, whether you're tired physically or mentally. And I would pat myself on the back and say my stamina and how I'm able to just, you know, brush things off and keep pushing forward has really been amazing. And it's so important. And it's like that that meme you see where the people are, I don't know if they're digging and mining for gold, and then the one gives up and you don't know you're just one hack away.
Right.
You know, you never know if you're an hour away, a day away, a year away, but you know, you stay steady, pushing forward. And I have been able to do that well, you know what I mean, through the journey. So
yeah, you have. It's exciting to see. You know, not everybody is, you know, out here stunting on them. Some of us are serving on them.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, Brian, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It was so cool. I was like, yo, this is such a full circle moment. I would love to interview Brian. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, thank you very much for having me. It is crazy, full circle. And I know we're going to work together again. Let's make it happen.
I'm down. I would love to.
We both controlling our own journey. So we don't really have to wait on nobody to say, hey, y'all want to, you know what I mean? It starts and ends with us.
I know that's right.
Real quick with that nigga. Real with that nigga.